In the land of Uz lived a man named Job. He was blameless and upright, a man who feared God and turned away from evil. The Lord had blessed Job with great wealth, vast flocks, faithful servants, and a large, loving family. Yet more than his riches, Job treasured his relationship with God. His children often gathered together in celebration, and after each feast, Job would rise early to pray for them. He offered sacrifices, saying, "Perhaps my children have sinned and cursed God in their hearts." Job was known throughout the land for his kindness. He cared for the poor, welcomed strangers, and treated others with compassion. People respected him because he walked faithfully before God. Life seemed peaceful, and God's blessings surrounded him on every side. But beyond what human eyes could see, events were unfolding in heaven that would change Job's life forever. One day, the heavenly beings came before the Lord, and Satan also came among them. The Lord said, "Have you considered my servant Job? There is no one on earth like him. He is blameless and upright." But Satan replied, "Take away everything he has, and he will surely curse you." The Lord answered, "Very well. Everything he has is in your power, but do not harm the man himself." On earth, Job knew nothing of this heavenly conversation. Suddenly, a messenger came running. "Raiders have attacked. They stole your oxen and donkeys, and your servants are gone." Before he finished speaking, another messenger arrived. "Fire fell from the sky and destroyed your sheep and the servants." Before Job could even respond, another messenger came running with even more terrible news. Then another messenger arrived with heartbreaking news. "The Chaldeans attacked, stole your camels, and carried everything away. Your servants have been killed, and I alone have escaped to tell you." Before Job could even catch his breath, one final messenger came running. "Your sons and daughters were gathered together in the oldest brother's house when a powerful wind swept across the wilderness. It struck the house, and it collapsed. None of them survived." In a single day, Job lost his wealth, his servants, and every one of his children. Filled with grief, Job tore his robe, shaved his head, and fell to the ground in worship. He said, "The Lord gave, and the Lord has taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord." Even in the deepest sorrow, Job did not sin against God or blame him. Once again, the heavenly beings came before the Lord, and Satan stood among them. The Lord said, "Job still holds firmly to his integrity, even after losing everything." But Satan answered, "Touch his body, and he will surely curse you to your face." The Lord replied, "Very well. He is in your hands, but you must spare his life." Soon, painful sores covered Job from the soles of his feet to the top of his head. He sat among the ashes, scraping his sores with a broken piece of pottery. Seeing his suffering, Job's wife said, "Are you still holding on to your integrity? Curse God and die." But Job answered, "Shall we accept good from God and not trouble?" Even through unbearable pain, Job remained faithful and did not sin with his lips. News of Job's suffering spread throughout the land. When his 3 friends heard what had happened, they came together to comfort him and share in his grief. But when they saw Job from a distance, they could hardly recognize him. They wept aloud, tore their robes, and threw dust into the air as a sign of mourning. Then they sat beside Job on the ground. For 7 days and 7 nights, no one spoke a single word, because they saw how great his suffering was. At last, Job broke the silence. In his deep sorrow, he cried out, wishing he had never been born. He could not understand why such terrible pain had come upon him, yet he still refused to turn away from God. His friends listened carefully, believing they understood the reason for his suffering, but instead of bringing comfort, they were about to make a mistake that would bring Job even greater pain. After listening to Job, his friends began to speak. Eliphaz was the first. He believed that suffering comes only to those who have sinned. He urged Job to admit his guilt and ask God for forgiveness, believing that everything would be restored if he confessed. Then Bildad spoke, insisting that God is always just and that Job's suffering must have been the result of hidden wrongdoing. Finally, Zophar urged Job to repent, convinced that God was punishing him for secret sin. But Job knew he had remained faithful to the Lord. Their words brought him no comfort. Instead, they made his pain even greater. Still, Job refused to abandon his faith. He believed that God knew the truth, even when no one else did. Little did Job know, the Lord was about to answer him in a way no one expected. At last, the silence was broken. Out of a mighty whirlwind, the Lord answered Job. The Lord asked, "Where were you when I laid the foundations of the earth? Tell me, if you understand." He spoke of the seas, the stars, the mountains, and every living creature, revealing his infinite wisdom and power. As Job listened, he realized how small human understanding is compared to the greatness of God. Filled with humility, Job bowed before the Lord and said, "Surely I spoke of things I did not understand, things too wonderful for me to know." The Lord also rebuked Job's friends because they had not spoken truthfully about him as Job had. Then God instructed them to bring a sacrifice, and he told Job to pray for them. In humility and obedience, Job prayed for his friends, and the Lord accepted his prayer. After Job prayed for his friends, the Lord restored his fortunes and blessed him even more than before. His health returned, and his strength was renewed. Family and friends came to comfort him, sharing meals and encouraging him after all he had endured. The Lord blessed Job with greater flocks, more servants, and abundant prosperity. He was also blessed with sons and daughters, and his home was once again filled with joy. Job lived a long and full life, seeing his children and grandchildren grow. Through every trial, Job learned that God's wisdom is greater than human understanding. His story reminds us that even in our darkest moments, we should never lose faith in God. For the Lord is faithful, and in his perfect time, he brings hope, healing, and restoration to those who trust in him.